Testing 1, 2, 3. Happy New Year. Happy Friday. Good news. If you like football and you like born again people and you like Christians, all the media hated it. Okay. And I mean hated it. All these guys crying, praying, thanking God, knowing God has got his hand on this. And then this kid who's been doing for others since college, got a full ride in college, was so thankful. Toys for Tots, this thing, I don't know what it's up to 7 million. It's insane right now. Okay. And we're talking about Damar Hamlin. Okay. And the reason why he changed his number from 34 to 3 is to reflect upon the third day. And the cross thing. But I get ahead of myself. We have to say the Lord's Prayer. Boy, do we ever. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine kingdom, power, glory, yours now and forever. And thank you for your Son, for his victory, for us, who's our King, our Lord, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I have some more fantastically great news. Right, you want to come up here? Okay, so I'm going to discuss this, but um, all the tests came back from my wife negative, so she doesn't have a heart problem. They think it was from the virus, and that's their best supposition now. And that's kind of a gray area, you know, because nobody's giving the facts of this thing. But the supposition is that there's, micro blood clots in the lower parts of the lung or whatever, and they affect her breathing, but eventually they will disappear. So that's extremely good news. I need you guys to pray for my son, though, my eldest son. I can't discuss why, just God knows why. And so I just need you guys to say a prayer for him. He's serving you, okay? And he's a true hero, and he's serving you, right? He's a lieutenant commander down in Pensacola. Anyway, more on this, okay? Oh my gosh. I mean, because that's the only New York team we have left. My wife and I are watching this, and we saw the tackle, no big whoop, okay, and we saw him get up and adjust his helmet on the Monday Night Football game, and oh my gosh, he just died on the field. He died on the field, and he was dead for a good about 9 minutes. So, oh yeah, and you could see it in the other players. And I could see them doing the defibrillation. You could see the legs jerk and stuff like this. I knew exactly what was going on. Um, my wife thought he had a broken neck, but I've seen and heard of that before, and not in football, not in football, in other sports, soccer, baseball. lacrosse. Yeah, and I because I took jujitsu, I played football too, but I took jujitsu. I knew of a punch. Um, was kung fu jujitsu that a sensei could give a master or whatever that literally could kill somebody, and that's exactly what it is. It's basically um, hitting the heart with a shock at the exact right time to disrupt the electrical patterns. Um, but what the two things that happened that saved this boy's life. One thing is that the medical team for the Buffalo they recognized it immediately, and they immediately started doing CPR on him, and then immediately started defibrillating him. That's critical. The other thing is that they immediately also um, oxygen, big time. So they established a breathing tube in him within a minute. So that's very important. Um, but it took him full 3 days. And that's just, I don't believe in coincidences. That's just amazing. Because, like I said, if you look at the history of this boy, you'll see that he changed his number to three for that reason. So, wow. Okay. And just so what a great thing. Okay. Um, it's tragic, and then but it just showed the tremendous love of the brother and sisterhood that we have, and that kind of thing is just it's just infectious. And thank you God for having and his family and helping him, and yeah, so I can't wait to see what this gentleman says in person, and how he's always been humble and positive, but I think you're going to see him just fountain works of how overwhelmed he is by the love that everybody showed him. So anyway, now to other things. Okay, this McCarthy debacle. I don't even know what the status is right now, but it doesn't matter. Trump backed a rhino, and that's a problem for me. A very big problem. It should be a problem for you, okay? Because this guy was nowhere near vocal enough for the time that he's been in there to, again, be a minority leader. He should have been doing everything he could, and then everything not possible to protest the 4.7 or 5, I think it's $5 trillion that have been added to the deficit in the past 2 years. And then it's just unbelievable. So no, um, and then Trump calling, and now he's reneging the yeah, no, people, come on, wake up, okay? Trump doesn't even recognize or even admit that he made mistakes in choosing specific people. Doesn't, okay? Didn't take all that money that he raised to help win the Senate. That's a problem for me, okay? Because the Senate, if you don't have the Senate, you don't have anything. You don't. Now, oh, if it comes to Trump and anybody, yeah, sure. But I'm not sure that DeSantis would even run at this point. I really don't. Because I don't think he wants to put his family through that. He just got his wife back, and he's raising what my wife and I call loolies. I mean, they're young kids. So, but he did serve. He is an American. No question that I always said this. Yes, but everything he did, it doesn't count because it was all undone and spades. Did is Hillary in jail? No. Is the wall finished? No. Is all these things permanent? No. Are is energy taxes, our rights and everything else under attack? Yes. Have them in 5 million illegals have come in and more in this country in the past. Yes. Have are they burdening all cities and facilities? Yes. This election debacle should have been dealt with back after 2016. It should never allowed to get to the midterms where we lost and then a different outcome was going to happen in 2020. Come on, people. I'm sorry. I worked for the guy. He's a smart, but you could be the smartest person in the world, but if you can't admit to your failures, admit to your choices of wrong people, admit to decisions that were weak, admit to I see an arrogance that's unbelievable. Okay? That's not a leader. Okay? A leader is a person who recognizes that they're not perfect, that they try to do the best they can and put their trust in some people who betray. So that first one's on them. But if you do it again, that's on you. Knowing that we're in a spiritual battle, that's on you. Jesus told us the only is are these battles for us? No, they're not. They're not. We have to call upon Jesus to fight that. That's his domain. That's his purview. We can't do it. Or we can tackle other people, but direct no. People who can't touch a Bible, no. And then you know what's going on. You see it. And then again, I reflected on this before. The number one threat to this planet is not China, it's not Russia, it's not humankind. The one thing that's going to set us back to the 18th century, and I'm not kidding, destroy all our satellites in orbit, and literally kill billions of people, is a huge flare from the sun, which just happened 10 days ago. Where'd it go? It went off to Jupiter. I mean, how long, people, are you going to be in the roulette system waiting for this to happen? To where you're going to say to yourself, we need to really, is it fixable? Can we prevent this from? Yes, we have the technology to prevent this from happening. Is anybody is anybody addressing it? There's a couple of people on YouTube that are addressing it, but as far as our leaders, no, nobody's addressing it. Was he made aware of it? He was, because he was trying to harden the electrical grid. But did he get in front of the United Nations and say, "Hey, look, people, look, this is the sun. This is the Carrington event. This happened in 2012. This thing went out and missed us by 6 days. So this is not an if, it's a when." And he could have, people would have listened. Everybody would have listened because they had to carry it. What? 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 not climate change, people. It's the sun. Okay. They have tree rings through trees that are 3,000 years old and trees that went into rock that show the actual growth rings and stuff that's happened. Okay. And show these things are factual and also with the geologic record. Okay. And we have it from samples all over the world. We know this. We know it. We know that there's been ice ages repeatedly, 5 of them that we can count. What froze them and what melted them? It wasn't Ford or Toyota, okay? It wasn't. Oh, yes, we need to get off oil. I've said this a gabillion times. Not it pollutes the air, it pollutes the land, and it's 1,000 times too expensive. But you can't do EVs. You can't do them the way they're doing it now. Okay, can't do it. You need superconductivity, room temperature. With that type of technology, you have supercapacitors. A supercapacitor can literally capture a bolt of lightning. 300 million amps. Boom, can capture it. And you can transmit it anywhere in the country 100% efficient with that type of technology. You can charge up your supercapacitor car in less than 5 minutes. And then you could go 500. Do they want this? That's what you. This whole carbon thing is just another form of a tax. That's the key. That's what they don't want. They don't want energy freedom because energy freedom is freedom. That's what they don't want. And they make more money and they skim more money on energy than anything else in the world. And if you check the world governments, you'll see. Um, the problem is raised a point. We do not have. Uh, I mean, look at Katie. In Arizona, we don't have um, a system, and the reason why they've left the borders basically unattended is to thwart the the process and to get them registered as citizens. And then who are they going to vote for with all this free stuff? That's the plan. That's why they're doing. Believe me, you would see the Democrats put up a wall that would be higher than the Tower of Babylon if they knew that these people were going to vote Republican. But that's not the case. Okay. So I mean that's the problem. But um and yes, I was extremely disappointed. I was disappointed throughout on far as what Trump and basically what threw me off the train was the attacks on DeSantis, which were totally unwarranted, not Christian. Ah, I mean, if anything, jealousy, and that's the root of every evil there is. So, but that and I'll tell you, DeSantis didn't pick it up. He took the high road. He did not pick it up, and kudos kudos to him. So we're in trouble. We're in trouble across the board. And then look at the Congress. We're in trouble. This is exactly what I was saying. Okay. Those 20 people those are us. Those 20 people are us. That's saying, no, this all has to stop and we're going to stay our ground. This guy is making deals with the Democrats now. What does that tell you? And Trump backed him. If anything, it should be a lightning rod to tell you that we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. Okay. This is not, Trump is out for Trump now instead of being for us and being and knowing what the best is for us. Something happened. I don't know what happened. Probably, tremendous amount of scabbing, tremendous with all the attacks and everything else, and they were all false. Well, they were proven to be false, and that was absolutely wrong, absolutely wrong. All this stuff was is totally wrong. But you have to pray and you have to take strength and you have to stand up and you have to do what's right. And his behavior related as I would not quantify that as right. I would not. Um, and I know a lot of other evangelicals that do not like this for the same reason. So, oh yes, if he's on the ballot and yeah, fine, great. But what's he going to get done in one term? And then, like I said, we have a timer that's running right now. The sun is not going to wait. It's just not. And then I have this other guy, suspicious, who I like because he does good reporting, but he's just resigned to the fact, oh well, I'm preparing, I'm this, and everybody, we're gonna lose 90% of the people, and yeah, it's gonna be back in the 18th century. He's saying, in matter of fact, he's given up. I'm not giving up. Oh yes, I prepared for the worst, but people, I'm not giving up. I don't want there's tremendous amount of talent out here and these people no, no, no. It all can be avoided. Not going to give up. Not going to stop yelling about it. Not going to stop talking about it. I'm going to talk about another subject too. I'm talking about the FBI is obviously now, not, they're not on the job, but our Suffolk County legislature court system has been hacked. Chase, Wells Fargo, Sloan Kettering. I mean, and a person of interest, a client of mine, they their phone was cloned in the airport. Now they were okay stupid about it because they were using the phone unlocked and the Wi-Fi was out. They weren't using a Wi-Fi, but you can't use it in public places, people. Okay, instead of pickpocketing, they have these people who walk around with computers and laptops and everything else. They're looking to either be a cell phone repeater or hack cell phone, and they're waiting. This delay in airline stuff and these holiday things just prime for that because they'll clone your phone. I'm not kidding. They will. They'll clone your phone. They'll steal everything that's on your phone. And if your phone has access to a server, a law firm, which this phone did, yeah, set all kinds of alarms. Now they didn't get into the data files, but they got in, and I had and literally there was seconds away from getting and doing damage, but I thwarted it. So now I'm under attack because they traced the thwart back to me. Um, so I'm very lucky to be doing this show because I've been underneath DDS attacks since a week before Christmas. That's when this happened. So it's unbelievable. Can I get any thumbs up? But anyway, so I mean, look, this is all my opinion. I mean, on the computer stuff, that's fact. So if you want to use your phone, basically use it with an earpiece, a Bluetooth earpiece, something like that, that you will not have to unlock your phone. You could um, set commands in either into Siri or Alec or whatever the heck the Android. It's not Siri, it's Alexa. Yeah. Anyway, same difference. You can have it do commands and stuff by recognizing your voice commands and stuff, through your earpiece. And then you don't have to unlock your phone. See, the unlocking is the key. You don't want to do that. You want to leave, and you want to, fine, get yourself a mini iPad or tablet, whatever you want to call it. Download the stuff on your own secure Wi-Fi with your own firewall and everything. Download a whole bunch of stuff before a trip. Then when you get to the airport or any public place, you're only going to be using your phone for messages or and you can again use the Alexa or Siri to do that. You can say send this to this person, and again the phone stays locked. Okay, limit it to just emergency notifications, things like this. And then put your iPad or whatever on airport mode, and then use the stuff that's been downloaded into it. Download all your email and everything, and you can respond and everything else. And then when you turn it back on again, when you're in a place that you can do that, and you have a good solid VPN, everything else, boom. Okay, then it'll take all that stuff in your outbox and then send it and whatnot. But people, it's not 1995 anymore. It's not even 2010 anymore. Okay, it's bad. And again, FBI, there's no press conferences. There's literally nothing. You call them up, they're like, well, yeah, there's been millions of dollars of loss. There used to be, well, 150. And then Biden basically made it illegal for you to even fight back. So basically, I'll put it in terms of this. If somebody's trying to break into your safe downstairs and you have to get a cot and give him milk and cookies and feed him 3 squares of a day and let him have access to your bathroom while he continues to try to break into your safe. Because that's you pay for the power for your router, you pay for, and you all you have to do is just keep changing your passwords. W- Trump allowed us to fight back. Okay, but again, first day in office, everything Trump canceled. And yeah. So, any questions on anything? Rick Riley says he's still canning. Yeah, I'm trying to get the time to do a bean run. Um, Saying it fertile. A deterrent. Yeah. Um. Well. A deterrent is they capture. Remember, they take it. They take. You allow them to break into something, and they take something that is actually detrimental to their systems. That is now against the law. You can't. That's disseminating a virus. That's against the law. Even though they broke into your system and they took, so there's literally no downside for these bad people. None. And you can't tell me that Verizon and AT&T and T and all these other companies don't know about it. They're coming in through the headers. So they have to know about it. You can't tell me they don't know that they're duplicating their cell information and stuff like that because they stole all that stuff from the FBI and the police. Because that's what the FBI and the police would do. So, I mean, you know. And then, of course, the Idaho murder was caught, and thank God for the I call it the stupid circuit breaker that God put into all evil. Um, because even Rick and I, we just couldn't understand. You know, I mean, you watch this guy create everything, including you, and then you're like, well, I'm gonna take over heaven, and are you with me? So I I was joking with Rick that Lucifer must have been the first used car salesman. Because convinces 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 these angels it's a good idea to overthrow God. I mean, oh, like, you ever read Janet? It's just like you like it's like the stupidest thing you know, but that's what jealousy does. Jealousy, it just throws logic and thought right out the window. Yeah. So yeah. So you when you know this guy's so-called getting a doctorate in criminology, and he leaves. He leaves his sheath to the knife and everything. I mean, and uses his own car. Woo! But definitely the demon eyes, no question about it. You look at it evil when you see that lad. But again, nobody's addressing the 200,000 fentanyl deaths, which are same young people just as dead. Okay, and that was last year, 200,000. Okay, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of talent. That's a lot of homes and families. And my best friend to my wedding, his son, he was gonna go in rehab for the third, fourth, I don't know how many times, and he had to get that last one. Well, it was his last one, all right. That's it. Yeah, kid was I don't know. I guess he was 25. Yeah, that's what we talk about the donut hole. Okay, only God can fill that hole. Only the Holy Spirit through Jesus can fill that hole. Can't be filled with anything else. It's always going to be empty and leave you vulnerable to all these things. Are there any questions about anything that's going on? And no, I can't comment about certain things. I can just say to you, please pray. Okay. Pray for our military. Pray for my son. Please. Thank you. I am open. Rick, I'm so glad to see you here. It means you must be feeling better. I'm visualizing, yeah. Oh gosh. Rick and I had a conversation about this, about the time when Christ was replicating the fish. And I said to him, I said, how do you know it wasn't rainbow trout? God's perfect creation. So yeah, you know. I don't know if you've ever had rainbow trout people, but oof, taking a break from your dissertation. He's going for his doctorate, people. Okay. So I know I know of nobody else personally who knows the good book better than this gentleman right here, Rick Riley. So if you have, yes, French code right to the pan. Oh, it's heavenly. Okay, it's and like I said, it's perfect. And oh God, someone was ruining it for me the other day. They were saying, having you're gonna be killing a lot. Jesus produced fish, people, for these people to eat. Oh, geez, Louise. I mean, come on. You know, they've done studies. Plants feel too. Okay, they feel pain. They did a study, even cutting the lawn. The trees like go into a coma. Okay, so believe me, but if the tree wasn't put there for us, through evolution, you think that, and this is in their chemistry. Calcium carbonate is in a tree's chemistry. So you basically would have had a concrete trunk. And why wouldn't you? You would want something to not get chopped down. You'd want all the fruit to be um, edible to a certain point, but then the seeds, nutrition kind of worthless, basically just for the seeds, so that's what it would be. No, the tree is like, we would not be here without trees. Trees are perfect. You can eat them, you can burn them for fuel. It's the real true solar power wood, by the way. And then you can eat the fruit from them and everything else. So yeah. Uh, well, it's not specified, but I'll tell you right now, you know, nothing's. Uh, and the thing that Rick, the thing I love about rainbow trout. You ready? We can eat a dozen of them and not get fat. You're actually good for us. You actually lower your cholesterol. Food for trout, yeah, exactly. Um, Look, those eagles by my house up in Vermont. They know the they don't take they know the routine. Okay, I see more than one with rainbow trout on my deck. Okay, instead of the brook trout that I know is just 200 feet away. These eagles go after the rainbows. They know where it's at, and their beak is like a 10 blade. It's amazing. They just go right down it like a scalpel and just open that fish right up. They know if there's roe in there, they'll go right for the roe. It's amazing. If not, what they do is they eat the gills and then they bring it to the young. So I hope everybody had a New Year celebration. It was good and it was fruitful, and you're safe and there was no accidents and things like this. Um, yeah. The trout by us is probably the best fishing spot in the Northeast. It's right off the Appalachian Trail. Actually, it's right on the Appalachian Trail, but it's literally a mile and a half from my house. And I guess the water by this fall for the mountain is about, I guess about 8 feet deep. It's too deep for the eagles to get, the trout. They get them once in a while when the trout come up to grab stuff, but a lot of stuff comes down to them because of the fall. It's especially in the springtime. It takes a lot of the insects and food and things like this down deep into that pool where they just sit and just they chow down and get bigger. I mean, big. And then there's bears there and everything else. So and they come away with what they need to feed their zones from hibernation, and and they give birth to the young in hibernation, so they come out, they're pretty hungry. It's a tough spot. You're gonna have to get in better shape. And yes, you will fish there. But yeah, it's literally, it's a good mm, half a mile into the trail from the road. Yeah, it's not an easy trail either. So, but yep, this will is the way. So, but there's also Emerald Lake. Can rent a rowboat there, and beautiful, beautiful rainbow trout there. Um, yep, that's like end of spring, early summer fishing. So really, really nice. There's also good other fish. There's perch, yellow perch there, bass, brook trout I've seen there, brown trout. There's so many lakes up in Vermont left over from the just little pockets of water because it's so mountainous. Um, you know, and they're all clean. It's really nice. Um, yeah, it's really nice. So, and turkey. I just saw wild turkeys here in my backyard the other day. I haven't seen a turkey on Long Island in 50 years. Yeah, yeah, they're great. Another great um, pan fried fish. Another great. Really, you could do anything with perch. I mean, you know, young. I used to keep some folded, aluminum foil and a lemon and pepper and salt and garlic in my saddlebag in Montana so that I could just, over a fire, just heat up some rocks and then put the aluminum on the rocks, the foil, and kind of cup it into like a little pan and stuff. I didn't. It's too lazy to carry the big 40-inch cast iron frying pan that my old man had. Yeah, I mean, we have deer that bed down in my back all the time behind my fence. That's incredible. And then now we have, and I've seen foxes, and now I the first time I saw a turkey, and it probably was, two more, but I can only recognize the one. So that's just incredible. We have eagles here, hawks, falcons back on Long Island. I'm sure this was all from um, the banned use of DDT, which it took probably 50, 60 years to for them to get back to where they were. But the problem is the main major migrating birds, which um, I used to train my dog. I had a pointer, and for duck hunts, pheasants, and things like this. I didn't shoot, but my father did. I was busy running the dog. Um, but the sky would millions of birds, millions every season. It was unbelievable. But what happened is through development, they killed the habitat and where these birds used to go to and come from to where that our Canadian geese now are just that they're just here. They go from one high school field to another, and they can't even do that anymore because all these fields are now synthetic. So they're desperately trying to find lawns or other types of things. I would never, they made for like, I was never into that. Okay, and these birds are like you could walk right up to them, hit them with a baseball bat. It's so pathetic. It just It's just it's pathetic. So yeah, I mean, where I first saw a lot of wildlife, a lot was out of Brookhaven, and because the whole land is all fenced in and everything else, and you know, so but it took time for this the stuff to come back here. Now we have a thriving. The deers are getting hit by cars. They stopped hunting season, and there's so many deer. There's gonna be a problem because there's not enough. You can't feed them. It's against the law to feed them, which is fine. But the problem is that they're eating everything. They're eating azalea. They're eating everything, and they procreate like rabbits. So you can see, the deer are having a problem, and it opens them up when they're this hungry and stuff. It opens them up to disease, and that's bad. So, um, I would say probably on the island is maybe 300,000. Nowhere near what used to be millions, millions. You used to see them for days flying over in these V formations and landing at places out east and then going further south. They'd end up off of the Carolinas, all those places that were marshes and everything else. They're now condos and everything else. Same thing here. They took all those wetlands that were preserved and they built golf courses and condos and everything else. And all that was a fish estuary. It killed the lobstering in Peconic Bay between the forks. So yeah, it had tremendous problems. And we wanted hunters, we wanted and fish, we wanted that land to go fallow as both a freshwater preserve, but also we knew the wildlife needed it. And you know, but we were outmoded. You know, you mighty buck, and got to have another two or three golf courses out there in Hampton. Got to have that. Not enough. So, but at any rate, yeah. So I heard the latest from that football player, and he talked to. So it's just a matter of, I think tomorrow or next day he's gonna talk to the American public. What a wonderful young man. What a great kid. Even had his family, and his father talk to the guy that hit him because also people were saying, "Oh, the guy put his helmet into his chest and didn't do such a and no. He used a shoulder pad. It was a fine play. There's nothing wrong with the play. 100 hits like that happen every game. Um, it's just the timing and that specific timing and with the location. It set the heart into defibrillation, and that's why the kid died on his feet. He literally died on the field. So I've never seen that in football. Never. I've seen other types of really bad injuries, mainly neck. A guy had a C3 fracture, became a quadriplegic. So yeah, seen that. Yeah. Well, big agro is the number one polluter in the entire world. A lot of people don't know that. Number two, textiles. Textiles is the next biggest pollutant. These synthetic coats that all these people, these greens are bringing about, they're terrible. They're the worst thing for the environment. To make them, you burn like 50 barrels of oil, and then it puts out toluene and everything else. It's terrible. Versus if you raise, um, a mink, for example, or whatever fur coat you raise, they have to live well. If you want a good fur coat, they got to live well, and then you're harvesting them. So you killing them. That fur coat. My wife has a fur coat from her mother. I bought her a fur coat. Oh God, it's got to be 30 years old now, and she's gonna pass it down, hopefully, to her granddaughter. So I mean, you know, yeah, yeah, but it wasn't from that. Um, yes, I, we, it wasn't that Cornelius Corrado. That's a Latin term for basically that, type of thing. It's extremely rare. I've never heard of it in football. I've heard of it in soccer, baseball, lacrosse. We had a kid who was hit by a ball in lacrosse, and he was resuscitated, an AED on the field. Yeah, saved his life. Um, yeah, but and that was they estimate that that lacrosse ball hit him at over 140 miles an hour. So yeah, what they might want to look into is doing something, you know. But if you ask any receiver, safety, and stuff like that, you're gonna give them extra weight. They're not they don't even wear the proper thigh pads because um, you know, they'd rather have the speed. So they hit a raise first. Well, like I said, those animals that died to put into the coat that my wife has, she hasn't bought a synthetic. She hasn't bought a coat. She wears that coat. So, I mean, if you think about how many animals die from the toxins that are released from these synthetic fibers and coat, people don't see they don't do the right science. Okay, now a fur coat, no matter what it is, it's biological, so it's going to disintegrate. It's not going to harm anything. It's just like paper bags. It was like all about the plastic bags. Worst thing ever. Okay, I hated them from the start. I didn't want them. I never wanted them. I always wanted my paper bag. So, just because they're pushing it on us. It's not like they were making see, when they first invented plastics, the guy who invented it was an accident, okay? But then he recognized the and then they could have made it out of the cellulose from cornstarch, okay? This was the plan to make it out of, and it would have been maybe 6 months to a year, okay? That it would have lasted, and it just would have disintegrated. Okay, Rockefellers didn't want this. Okay, also the degradation of that would not have left to an estrogen molecule where the petroleum one does. So you got to know there was some thinking because now there's nanoplastics because we've been washing polyester clothes for 60 years, which means it got into the water supply, which means when you drink your water and you stop, not mine because I have a special filter, takes it out. But nanoplastics is a thing, okay? And it does affect you chemistry in your blood. It produces an estrogen molecule, a molecule that your body thinks is estrogen. I think that it's one of the reasons why you have all these cancers and stuff. And I really, if you trace it all down, I think you're going to find that it's in plastics. Now, remember, you can't you can't look at cancers. Everybody was smoking like a chimney in the past. Okay. So when they were smoking, they were ingesting what's also called polonium. And polonium is one alpha state away from a degradation. And that's because that was on leaves. Okay. It's another decay state of the radon. Point is that that was all kinds of stuff. But you have people who didn't smoke, like my Uncle Joe. Oh gosh, you know, he's 98 years old, and I'm telling you, he didn't look a day over 65. And you know, he was just incredible, and he ate bacon and eggs every morning for like ever, and he made his own bacon and he grew his own eggs on his farm. Um, except when he was in Washington as a United States senator. But yeah, so you know, and he was up every morning at 4:30 and down every night at 9:30. Um, yeah. So I mean, also my grandfather on my father's side, he didn't smoke. Um, and yeah, but then it's people like my father smoked like a chimney and didn't give it up to the end. But he didn't die from he died from other things that he was exposed to. And he died, he was 47. And he looked like he was 95. His brother came in to see him. I'll never forget, it was in the summer of 77, and his brother never saw him again. His brother went in there, saw him, and turned and came out white, absolutely as white as this. Where we were seeing it every day from really 71 every day, the slow march. But he saw this man who was even 70 pounds, skeleton, can't walk, can't do anything, eyes like milk, blind, and everything else. This is shock. And that was his older brother. My father was his older brother, not by a lot, but still the same difference between um, my boys. So you know, but yeah, so you can't tell me that they didn't know this. I don't believe that. I believe they knew everything when it came to these textiles and everything else. But it's just like all these things they put in the house and everything else. It turns out that insulating, and you're basically setting up a toxic environment because all these toxins have nowhere to go that are coming from your furniture and coal and all these things, and instead you're breathing it. You're breathing in these toxins and the air. I don't have to worry about that with I have an old farm ranch, and believe me, when the wind blows, it still blows through my house. You know, and anyway, I know I usually do a Bible reading and stuff, but unfortunately, I've just been plagued with all kinds of work and just haven't been able to really do the proper. I fell asleep on doing work last night, preparing, and I don't like to do anything half debacle, but I also there was so many people praying for. It was just so heartwarming. And if you look into the story, you'll see this gentleman changed his jersey to three to reflect of the 3 days, and on the third day Jesus rose. And he would wear crosses on his face. So even if he died, and I knew where he was going. So, but I think it was very gracious of our Lord to bring him back to us. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. So, the outpouring of love, which is just so wonderful. I mean, wow. I mean, that's got to make you feel great. Oh, yes. Well, again, he was so thankful just to even get a scholarship to Pitt that, again, that's when he established his Toys for Tot charity. And he was just hoping to raise, at the time, $2,500. Then his NFL, I think he raised like 25,000 or something like that. I haven't checked. Last time I looked, it was like 7 million. So it's wow. you know, what a booyah for the kids in Pittsburgh. Oh man, and yeah. So his teammate is a guy that he actually played against in high school, and then he played with him on Pitt, and he was a year. He was. You looked at him on the field. Oh my God, he was just wrecked. All those players, they were wrecked. Okay. And then you have these lefties who are all, oh, look at these grown men crying and so on. I'm like, that is a man. A man is a man who's strong enough, okay, to cry, to truly cry. And that coach, wow, he is and he tops, just goes out in the field and it says to the other guy, look, I got to get to Damar. I got to get to that hospital. I don't care what we can't play. I got to get there. Whatever we got to do, I got to get there. All he was thinking about was his player. Oh man, what a great coach. Great leader. Unbelievable. So wow, you you know, just renewed my faith and a lot by seeing that love. A lot. We all needed to see that. Wow. And thank you, God, for answering our prayers for that young man. Thank you. And thank you for answering the prayers on my wife. Now please answer the prayers on my boy. So yep. So my wife, thank God, she's gonna be good. So anything else? I've been on it a while. We'll talk about anything. I don't care. They demonetized me ages ago, years. So Sunday is the next game with Buffalo. I don't remember who they're playing. Oh, Patriots. Right. I call them the cheaters. Oh, I remember that game. Yeah, now I know. He had a prior condition. That was a heart attack, but he had a prior. It turned out that it wasn't from football. He just had a prior um, cholesterol. He had a plaque that broke loose. He had a prior condition. That's gnostic baseball. Yeah. So that's I recall that one. Yeah. But there's been other people who were drastically hurt with you know anything from a spinal fracture of the main tibia to um, a broken back, broken neck, things like this. These are the things that when you're out there playing, you can't think about them because if you do, you'll get them. You'll get hurt. You have to just you know train and play your hardest. Yes, there's like a billion things I could be doing. I should be doing right now that can make me a lot of money. But I felt that it was important for me to maintain. Um, and usually I do scripture, but I really didn't have to. I mean, you could see the power if you followed the story and how it really, really aggravated the Satanists big time. They couldn't stand it, and good. There's so many people you have no idea. They literally and it was not theirs to sell, but they sold their soul to the devil. A lot of them. I could do a whole show on that. Um, and it's real. It's real. And yeah, every time I call upon Jesus, uh, get that image, get the end Satan, Jesus. Phew, wow. Um, yeah, I had to spend all my money, all my retirement money, all my wife's retirement money. Obama changed my health care. I used to have 100% coverage, and I didn't know it. He did it underneath anything, even though I was paying almost $5,000 a month in health insurance. And then I had my stroke. And my first 2 weeks was over $2.5 million, and I was responsible for 80% of that. The rest of it was over. It was like 13 or 14 million by the end of the summer. And again, I had to go. My wife negotiated, but we didn't go bankrupt on it. We had to pay. Um, all the insurance only covered 80%, and one insurance company went bankrupt. They took my fee, and I had to come up with another for another insurance company. Oh yeah, wonderful panic. Now, meanwhile, the illegals, because I've seen this myself, the undocumented people, they go in there and they get the same health care, if not better, and they don't have any burdens or worrying about bills or anything like this. I'm constantly charged up the yin yang for everything because I had kidney stone, all caused by drugs. It doesn't matter. So they test some of the tests. Not covered. $8,000, $9,000 tests. I mean, please, you know. Yeah, it cost me. It cost me all my savings, my wife's savings. Um, yeah, it was very bad. I'm just we just eking ourselves out now, but it was very bad, you know. But we never lost our faith, and but yeah, we are American citizens, yet we have all the liabilities, including you guys have to realize, this new $5 trillion, and that's not a real figure. It's really 14 if you add the liabilities, 14 to 15 that they've added, really, and that's the real figure. If you look at that's on you. All these undocumented people, they don't give a crap. They don't care. No, that's not tough for you. Your taxes are gonna go above 60, 70%. Oh, you mark my words, they will. Yep. And the ultra rich, the Jeff Bezos and those oh, Elon Musk will pay. They'll make sure that he pays for what he did. Oh, they'll make sure he pays. But the Jeff Bezos in the world, the Tim Cooks in the world, all these no, they don't. Not to mention the politicians, they won't pay. No. Yeah. I'm not that great with names, um, especially back then because I was doing other things. Um, but again, if you play the sport, you can't think about that. What you do is you have to prepare, and you have to. Um, you're definitely preparing for next Saturday, but you're also preparing yourself physically to maintain that. If you, the better physical condition you are in, the 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 better you're going to deal with the injury that you're going to have. I don't know anybody who's never had no injuries and played sports, including me, my sons. No, no, no. It was always, and that's being an athlete is not giving 100% on certain things where you don't have to give 100%. My son James broke his arm, really his fist, by and playing on the course. Because he even said to me, "Oh, I hit the guy as hard as the guy." You hit the guy as hard as you have to make the play. You don't hit him as hard as you can, and send the kid into the hospital and break your fist, and then put yourself out for the season. That's not how you manage yourself. But everybody has to learn. I'm good. Um, I slipped on my shoulder wrong the other night, and uh, it, old injury. You know, um, but it's no big deal. It's just what it is. I had a good Christmas. Was with the wife, and yep, I mean good. Had a good uh, cardiac thing. I don't know if I told my weight was down to 306. I don't know what it's up to now because that was before Christmas. You know, and it's not like I eat cake. I don't. But I do love good food, and the holidays. Oh, you come on up here. I'll give you that one. Go say hi to people. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi. There you go. He was fantastic. He's my service dog. So this is how it is. I make an appointment to see the cardiologist. It was eons ago. It was the first appointment I could get, and I'm sitting there. I get into the office at I think it was 7:30. I wasn't seen till like 9:15, and that dog was just incredible. He's got his vest on. He's a different dog with the vest. I got to tell you, okay. He puts the vest. You put the vest on him. He's like, "Ugh, I'm working," and he was great. I mean, what it was amazing. No, I didn't see them. I, FaceTimed, and I talked to the other one on the phone, but no, no, didn't. Just the weather, just everything, flights. It just wasn't going to happen. So it would have been foolish for us to do that kind of drive with the stuff that was going down. Oh, I agree with that one. Jula 333. Yes, absolutely. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. But yep. Uh, I was just. I'm so glad that they called the game off. I'm so glad. I'm just glad about the way it all went down. I'm really happy about that. And I'll tell you, hats off to the NFL because they rehearsed that so that they know that that and worse, believe it or not, are very possible on a field. And they rehearse all types of things. And if they even delayed seconds, they call it when they have this the golden minute. You would not see the type of recovery this boy is having. Um, so, but yeah, so I think you're going to see the Bills on Sunday play with. Wow, they got to play with a lot of vigor, okay? And yeah, it's definitely going to be something to watch. So, and I'll tell you, they have a tremendous amount of respect for the Cincinnati organization. I do too. I think that coach was just tops, and he did just another fantastic, fantastic person. Um, and then the trauma center and those people, and then their team, medical team, just great, really, really great. So yeah, that's why we need to have the medicine that we have, folks. I mean, you would not have that kind of facilities, trauma one centers, um, if it wasn't for the competition. And and if you also look, every single stadium, there's a trauma one center within 3 to 5 miles, 6 miles of a stadium, and they're put on alert. The ambulance, doctors, 20. It's all done of every single game, and I don't think that they go through the same types of protocols for baseball games, and there is a greater risk, and this is a scientific fact of having that type of incident occur with baseballs, coming in and hitting right there. Um, yeah, and so there's a greater risk, but it's rare. It's very rare. Thank God it's rare, but it happens. Any other questions? Yes. And if that was the case, and if he had, that's what should happen. If the president was so called in charge, and any of these stories were true, there was an Absolutely, no ifs, ands, or buts. He could have been speaker. I can be speaker. Anybody can be speaker. Okay, you just have to get the votes from the representatives. And so think about it. You have him as the speaker. You have a true criminal investigation and impeachment of shenanigans and whatnot, and boom. If everybody was saying that Trump was in charge and anything else, that's what would have happened. He got one vote. I'm very disappointed. Okay, and I hate to say this. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not going to be fooled again. I've seen all the new Q posts. It's not going to happen. Not, not on this channel. I don't care if my popularity goes whatever, but I look at the truth. I look at truth and facts, and I see that the Navy is in worse shape now than it was underneath Obama Biden. Everything that was good, wow, and it was undone in a matter of months, months. And then this woke crap and this other types of stuff. I mean, not only is it prejudice to white people and racist, but it's insane. And it certainly doesn't make our military more lethal. To identify 78 genders and their flags and the proper pronouns and stuff. I identify. I was even when my wife and I were going down with her Mercedes, and we were in this HOV, and it was +3, and she was all conniption about it. I said, I can't take this. I said, it's okay, Ann. I identify as three people: me, myself, and I. I mean, why not? Because technically, if I was with my dog, which I'm with my dog most of the time, he is because he's my service dog. He identifies as a person. Okay, they got to let him in. He's got to fly the whole bit. Okay, he identifies as a person, and he has certificates and everything else. Okay, um, and he's been trained and everything. He gets me up off the ground. But I mean, I'd love to walk into a bank and identify as Jeffrey Bezos and yes, I'm him. Give me 125 million. Would that fly, people? Come on. What's the difference when you have somebody who's 40 years old and they quote and identify as a 6-year-old girl and they want to play doctor with another 6-year-old, but they're a 40-year-old male, and you're telling me you have to let that happen? Yes, Rick, you have to call up. You were not a veteran. You have to call up. There is um, you can look on the yellow pages on your computer. You can find out. But they have service dog. You need a service dog. Okay, service dog will give you back a lot of your life, and they are trained. He will not care about your no. Your dogs can sit and bark the living crap out of him, and he'll just be like, "Yeah, whatever." So, um, you take the vest off, then he'll be a dog. Yeah, you'll just be like, "Yeah, well, okay, let's go have fun," and that is important. Okay, it's important that you let your dog be a dog and let him have fun, let him roll in the grass and mud, and just be a dog. Not serious. That stress all the time is a lot. Well, one of these days, when I go out to Indiana to pick up my generator, I'll stop by, and I can't. I'll probably stop by for a little bit of time, but basically, I'll have Max with me, so Max will he'll put them into place. He's a pound dog, so he's not going to hurt them, but he's not going to let them bite him either. So he'll straighten them out. Uh, he's a big mush, so he'll be like ridiculous on your wife. He'll love you too, but I'm just saying you'll just see he's just a mush with women. He's uh, it's the way it is. I haven't seen a girl that he didn't go over to and made the dodo eyes and have the girl caress his chest and everything else. He's a real hog that way. He's a real mush. So, but yes, I'm disappointed in and I'm not surprised. This is not a surprise to me. Those 20 Republicans, those are the heroes, and you should realize that they do not want the status quo. They do not like the leadership that they've seen since they were there and before. They don't like to see it. This guy's from California, so and he's already interesting enough. He's already moved in Pelosi's or the Speaker of the House's office. How can he do that? He wasn't elected. What arrogance? Okay, I don't know what's going on now, and I don't really. I'm disgusted. I am disgusted. I'm not surprised though. Oh yes. Well, I've been praying for a lot of things. Mainly, my focus has been on my son, and you guys should pray for my son as well, but also our men and women in the military. You should. If you only knew what was going on. I hate knowing sometimes. I really do. Speak of the look, and if this whole thing was true, like you all guys were telling me about Trump and everything else, and then he would have been speaker. Day one, boom, would have been a no offense of buts. Okay? If anything, that would have helped him reclaim his presidency. I think we need to move on. I really do. I don't see a person who's humble. I don't see a person who is admitting mistakes. I don't see a person who is sorry for the conditions. All he is about, oh, when I was this and I was that, it was this, but now it isn't. It's your fault that it isn't. How about that? Because of what you didn't do and make changes to. That's why we're in this place right now. That's the truth. Is Hillary in jail? Is the wall finished? Is the military really good? Well, Who was pushing the vaccines? Who did the warp drive? Just saying. Okay. And in order for me and my wife to do what we had to do, we had to have our card. And my son desperately needed our help. So believe me, I prayed about it. But I've seen, there's no question that God had my back on that trip on multiple occasions. So, but you see, that's not what a leader does. Look at DeSantis. DeSantis has money too. Not money like that, but he cares. He feels he feels the people. He feels what's going on. He cares. And you know, the thing is that those ramifications of his actions had real effects. And because they these things had to be known. And they weren't thought of. Okay, you always prepare for the worst. You always hope for the best. But I mean, I have 12,700 hours on my whole house generator. I have another 150 amp diesel generator hooked up to my house, ready to go. Now, yes, it's from my project, but that doesn't matter. I wired it into the circuit. I have it all set up so that if the power goes out, my natural gas generator will kick in first. But if it's going to be out for any length of time, more than an hour, I'm going to start the diesel up because I have so many hours on my natural gas. That's why I'm going to Indiana to get another one I bought. It was only 495 hours. Exactly the same one. So I won't have to, I just pull it out, put the other one in, no big deal. Easy, easy, easy peasy. I won't have to do anything. Well, remember, King David had his problems too. Okay. And, we're all human. I'm not saying that. But the best, the best leaders are the ones that you see are, they don't have to say anything about their prowess. They just don't have to say it. I mean, I always say, no, why? Because, I haven't run that for 42 years. But I used to run a 4340 and a 98100. But I never said it. I never bragged about it. On the field, when, you know, they see a white guy just trash, okay? And, I just fast. It's just the way I am, the way I was. And I was also 225 pounds. I was in the best shape of my life. But the point is that I didn't have to say it. Everybody saw it. So, I mean, and anybody saying that, again, what Matthew said, take the plank out of your eye first before you try to go up the splinter. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I learned a long time ago. I told you in the past, and like if you find a Disney behind the scenes you'll see a really thin me. Okay, long hair and everything. This is the most arrogant, obnoxious, nasty, you name it, bad thing on the planet. But I had a job to do. I knew what I was doing. I prepared for doing it. and I didn't need this guy screwing me up because I was responsible for the $22 million worth of hardware that I'm hooking up in a way that's not designed to be hooked up. And that's not an excuse. I'm just saying. But it's embarrassing. It's very. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not proud of it. I'm not. But it's real. And I was an asswipe. Okay. And then I'm not even an ASSHOLE. Worse, an asswipe. So no question, I could have been. And I hope that I'm better now. I really do. Um, but yeah. Now, I'm sure in the back of my mind, I was afraid of a lot of things and screwing up and whatever. But it it's like you're on the stage and everybody's looking at you. So in order to have that kind of shield, you have to be in it. You have to be. You don't have to be that, but I'm just saying at the time, um, I I I was that way. I really don't make. I can't make an excuse for it. That's just the way it is. So, and I see that, and I don't like it. And I do notice that in other people, and it's an insecurity. It really is. It's just an overplay of trying to wring out any doubt that's really in you and caution that's really in you, and it's just not needed. You can still do the same job, but not be as much of an a hole doing it. So are they still voting for the same thing? I'm not even watching. Okay, I mean anybody, uh, anybody. So what Einstein said. Doing something again and again, expecting a different result is the sign of insanity. Anyway, I don't like what I've been seeing. I really don't. I just don't like it. Um, and that's just my opinion. But it doesn't rub me the right way. It doesn't give me a warm, fuzzy feeling that this person is all caring about us. And that's bad. You don't want a leader that is focused on themselves. You want a leader that's focused on you. That's the person that you are going to follow. Well, like I said, you know, DeSantis is military. Um, gosh, the Navy men that I know, fantastic individuals. Um, Men and women, yes, same thing. Um, just really, really. When I used to go to the yard all the time, just the United States Naval Academy to see different events, it really, you saw the best from 50 states. It was just really, it made you feel good. It really did, and just, just it just made you feel good. Um, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like these new rules. I don't like any of it's like I said, it's not a military is supposed to be a lethal force, a deadly lethal force. That's what keeps the peace. The more lethal and deadly they are, the more our military is feared, the more respect it has, the less likely it's going to ever be used. And the more likely other people are not going to challenge it and they're going to, keep in line. That's not what's happening today. I was wrong about Taiwan. Now I'm worried about Japan. I'm worried about South Korea. I'm worried about the whole thing. There's no questions that China has a way bigger navy. Everything's in place. I mean, it's like they have. I'm not kidding. It's like they have the equivalent to 14, 15 carriers out there with what they've done. And what are we doing? Um, yeah, I mean, and Japan's got to be just, and all of our allies are saying themselves, did we, you know, what's going on? And this is all a result of that 2020 election. So that's why I'm saying, you know, what a Charlie Oscar Utah Paul it was. No different than the one that happened in '63, and no different than the one that happened with Abraham Lincoln. Same thing. And then they focus on all this other stuff, and meanwhile there's 23 to 24 servicemen suicides every day. 200,000 people killed themselves with fentanyl last year, and that includes some children, legitimate children. That's not mentioned. Not talking about. Then you have the hacking thing that's insane, where they're now hacking into cars, they're stealing stuff, they're hacking into houses, they're stealing stuff, they're hacking into your phones in public places, they're cloning them, they're stealing the information. I mean, these are real things. And what is the FBI doing? Oh, well, we're going through the president's residence, or we're going through some teachers thing. That the student, the parent went up and said something. Oh, that's bad. We can't have that. I mean, it's worse than when Herbert Hoover. Worse. I think it's her. Oh, he was ahead of his time. He was wearing dresses, so that he was ahead of his time. Yeah. Well, again, I have it off. I guess I should have it on. I don't know what she did with the remote. My wife's office. Yeah. So I only knew of the figures that my son was giving me, but that's not addressed. You know. And then they saw this debacle in Afghanistan. So here's this person, and they have no legs, they have no arms, they have one eye that's missing, and part of the skull has been opened up, and they can barely move and do things. And then they see it was for what. So yeah, I can totally see that. I can totally see that because I see how many young men and women that I know are getting out. I mean, they are running. And what are the, and I'm telling you, the best of the best. They're running. and they're getting out. And where does that leave us? You know, that leaves us with this insanity, this absolute insanity. That's what it leaves us. And I have no words. And again, I believe in free. Again, on your own time, on your own place. Uh, you know, I I'm totally. Hey, the thing that I was against, and what did they do? They went to, yeah, because they want that hook inside the bedroom. This whole marriage thing never should been ever should been handled by the government ever. It should have been just a civil union legal document. Any two human beings, period. They could be best friends. They could be widowers. They could be whatever. It's just a legally binding contract that this person is responsible for that other person and blah blah blah. Okay. Marriage is between you and God, and that's in the church. Okay. And that's where that should be. Period. The government has no business being in the bedroom. None. They should not enter, understand what's going on in your house. That is your business between you and the creator. Period. But that's not what happened. These people fell into the trap. And yet, a civil union should have been recognized in all 50 states. That's what a civil union does. Should not matter about nothing. Color, creed, shape, form, arm coming out. It doesn't matter. You have red blood, you're a human being, good, you qualify. Period. Have the legal right to be there if this person's in the hospital. Well, whatever. Okay. That's what it means. That's what it's supposed to be about. Civil law. Okay. It's not supposed to be what this is. All I know is that the graduation picture that was taken at my son's friend's wedding at the United States Naval Academy. I think eight of those are gone, and they were the best brightest that our country turned out, and that's why and like I said, there's a lot of other things that we need to fight. We need to fight that, and it's not so much fight it; it's just understand it. You know, because these things, like I said, there's tree ring evidence. It's happened before. It happened in 1859. Look it up. In 1859, you had the Carrington event. You think you're going to be fine from that? That's going to happen again. It happened 10 days ago. It just went off to Jupiter instead of us. It's not an if, it's going to happen. When it does, with the current pace of our technology, the way it is, we won't have it. It will be back in the 18th century. You won't have anything. Power, internet, phone, computer, device, nothing. Medicine, refrigeration, all that. You won't have it. That's a critical importance. That's a national critical importance. But guess this, it's worldwide. Yeah, some tribe in Bora is not going to give a crap. They're going to look up and see an aurora borealis and say, "Oh, pretty," you know. They're in a third world whatever, and they're living out of a jungle. That's not going to affect them, but it will affect us. It will affect a good portion of 6 to 7 billion people on the planet, and the tremendous 11-to-1 ratio of food we get out of an acre, that'll be gone, and it's avoidable. That's what I'm saying. That's what I have to say. And I want you guys to have a great weekend. Enjoy the game. Okay. I mean, obviously, games, um, but I really look forward to hearing this young man speak, um, and just, um, he's got to be seeing right now all the love, and that's got to make him feel just absolutely magnificent. I know it would me. And as a father, that father should be very proud of the young man that he raised, and the mother should be too. Anyway, God bless. Have a wonderful weekend and be safe. And I'll see you guys next week.